Today's case calls upon this Beit Din to interpret whether a potential bone marrow donor can refuse to participate in a bone marrow transplant when it may be necessary to save a life. Judy Rosen is in need of a bone marrow transplant as she has a type of leukemia known as CML. This transplant has about an 80% success rate. Finding a potential donor has odds of about 1 in 20,000. Michael has been identified as a potential donor. However, Michael is conflicted about whether he should donate his bone marrow because of likely loss of income. There is an 8% chance of failure of the procedure, resulting in harmful possibilities for him, and that scares him. He has decided to leave his decision up to the Beit Din. The basis of our ruling compels us to look at Vayikra 19:16, where it says, "You shall not stand by while your fellow's blood is shed." On the face of this argument, it seems that Michael would be obligated to partake in the procedure, but the case is more complex than that. The rabbis teach us that a rescuer must also consider the danger to himself before saving someone's life. The concept of saving someone's life is called pikuach nefesh. We learn from Mishnah Sanhedrin 4:5 to teach you that for all who destroy one life from Israel, it's as if they have destroyed an entire world.
We've considered the different views of many rabbinic commentators. There's a consistent theme. If someone is in a position to save a life, they have a duty to do so. Maimonides explains that if you can save someone, then you must comply with the core principle from Vayikra 19:16. However, there is one exception to saving a life, and that is if you are physically unable to do so. The rabbis have also taught us that there is concern for the rescuer as well as for the one in the life-threatening situation. The rabbis weighed the importance of rescuing someone against the relative risk to the rescuer. In the Agahor Barmaniyot, the rescuer must act if the danger to themselves is uncertain and the one to be rescued will likely die. The Aruch HaShulchan reinforces these ideas and suggests the reason why this test was not in Shulchan Aruch was due to Rabbi Karo's reliance on commentators who were swayed by their allegiance to the Babylonian Talmud. In Rabbi Karo's Beit Yosef, he also supports these earlier ideas, but he discusses a balance of a questionable danger to the rescuer and a definite negative outcome if the one who needs saving is not saved. However, what determines if a situation is uncertain and what is questionable? The rabbis had difficulty with this by giving us two different approaches to an answer. The rabbis talks about how we must protect someone's property as if it were our own. If we are obligated to save someone's property, then how much more important is it to save someone's life? The thing is, the rabbis didn't include an outline of degrees or percentage to be considered before saving someone's life. The rabbis diverges from his other teaching that a rescuer must not sacrifice a limb or another part of the body to rescue someone, as this goes further than the law requires. This court finds this information important in this decision.
Every life is precious, and saving a life is an important mitzvah. But what if that life is your own? Does one also complete the mitzvah of saving life if they keep their own out of harm's way? Why should one be put through the chance of possible death when they could walk away without any harm being done to themselves? We learn the answer to this question from Magan Avraham, or Chayam 1562, where it states that it is permitted to flee from life-threatening danger, even when doing so will cause your fellow harm. On an online forum, Rabbi Mark Wachowski, a prominent rabbi in the Reform movement, states that most Reform rabbis oppose any effort by the government and its police to restrict a woman's right to decide in favor of an abortion, not because her decision is always right, but because she should not be prevented from arriving at a choice that is quite possibly morally justifiable. To deny her that right is to interfere with her moral and quite possibly religious freedom. If women are allowed to choose what happens to their own body in regard to reproductive rights, then one should be allowed the right to choose what happens to their own body. Can this court, in good conscience, deny Michael the ability to make this choice as a justifiable expression of religious freedom?
While we recognize that a bone marrow transplant does not have the same risks as an organ transplant, we realize that Michael has a reasonable fear of dying, which not only affects him, but affects his family. Central to our opinion is the failure of Rabbi Karo to include the balancing test in the Shulchan Aruch, which, in this court's view, negates the balancing test as a measure. In addition, many rabbinic sources declare that a rescuer must perform an act of pikuach nefesh without expecting to be compensated for their efforts. However, the one who is saved is obligated to compensate the rescuer for expenses the rescuer has incurred. Rosh Sanhedrin 8:2. The Rosh teaches us, One is not obligated to save another with one's own money. This Beit Din ratifies that if Michael decided to be a donor, then he would be entitled to compensation for lost income and for his travel expenses to participate in this mitzvah. This Beit Din has compassion towards Miss Judy Rosen, and we are sanguine that the day will come soon when these types of decisions do not depend entirely on the actions of another party. Given the circumstances of this case, this Beit Din has ruled in favor of Michael. We aspire that another donor can be found soon.